Gentlemen, the last time Australia had 1,600 people in offshore detention centres, it took 6 years to clear them, but only after New Zealand, Canada, Sweden and Norway agreed to resettle some of them. 43% were eventually resettled in Australia. What's your plan to stop 1,600 people staying indefinitely on Nauru or Manus when clearly resettlement options in third world countries or developing nations is unattractive to many of these detainees? And will you rule out letting any of these detainees come to Australia?
Well, thank you. I can rule out any of the detainees coming to Australia. We had a situation when Kevin Rudd became Prime Minister that we had a border protection system established by John Howard which had stopped the boats. There was no people smuggling, there were no unauthorised arrivals. And then Labor dismantled that. We begged them not to do it. The consequence was 50,000 unauthorised arrivals, over 1,200 deaths at sea that we know about. The people smugglers were back in business with a vengeance. We returned to office in 2013 and we set that right. There has not been a successful people smuggling operation for over 660 days. We have stopped the boats. We have once again restored the security of our borders, the security which Labor abandoned. Now, we are committed to ensuring that the people that are detained on Nauru and Manus, who came under Labor's government, they arrived during the Labor government. We are committed to ensuring that they are treated humanely and have the opportunity to return from whence they came, to the countries they came from, or be resettled in other countries. But they will not come to Australia, because if they were to do so, that would be used as a marketing message by the people smugglers and the boats would start again. Labor taught all of us a very, very harsh lesson. They proved what happens if you abandon secure borders. Thousands of arrivals, deaths at sea, the people smugglers back in business. Their business model is finished. We will do nothing that will give the people smugglers the chance to get back into business.
You're sure?
When it comes to stopping the people smugglers, whoever forms the government after July the 2nd, there will be no change in policy about our determination to defeat the people smugglers, the criminal syndicates who prey upon people, take them out to sea and in too many tragic cases drown. Labor has the same approach as the government when it comes to deterring and defeating the people smugglers. When it comes to people being on Nauru and Manus, as you say, are semi-indefinitely, what we would do upon being elected, if we are elected, is I would send my immigration minister immediately to sit down with the United Nations High Commission for Refugees to work through how we can have regional resettlement which stops people being kept in indefinite detention.
With John Howard, however, he allowed people to come back to Australia. If you're so confident, Prime Minister, about your boat-stopping tactics, why wouldn't you allow resettlement?
Well, the situation has changed since John Howard's day. The people smugglers are much more sophisticated. They use social media, modern technology to distribute their message. The reality is that every time there is a change in the debate here, they are out there marketing and saying, look, there'll be an opportunity. They are out there marketing now, telling their customers that if Labor is elected, it'll be all on again. That's what they're saying. Bill says that's not the case. But of course, they know what Labor was like in government, just as we do. The reality is we have to be very firm about this. We do no favours to anybody by being weak on border protection in the way Labor was. The truth is that Bill leads a party that is hopelessly divided on this issue. There are dozens of his members and his candidates who disagree with the policy that he just described. He claims to be on a unity ticket with me, but his party is not. And the regrettable The melancholy fact of the matter is that Australians cannot trust Labor to keep the border secure.
Bill Shorten.
Shame on you, Mr Turnbull, for what you just said. The people smugglers,
For
you
telling
say...
the truth. For telling the truth.
I didn't interrupt you, but feel free to go
All right.
ahead. Shame on you for giving the people smugglers any hope that they could be back in business. I've made it very clear what the Labor government would do. We would defeat the people smugglers. We accept the role of boat turnbacks, as we should, because we do not want to see the people smugglers back in business. Mr Turnbull is playing with fire when he says that somehow Labor would be a better deal. And he shouldn't say that, because he just conceded in his own remarks that the people smugglers are watching every nuance in the debate. I really wish that the Liberals had voted for our Malaysia regional resettlement solution. That would have saved hundreds of lives, but we didn't get that degree of bipartisanship. As for my party, I took the debate to my party. I had the arguments at the national conference. It is a difficult issue. I took the debates and I won the argument. And the party has locked into this position, and we will implement the policy which I just outlined. And Mr Turnbull shouldn't be using fear or smear in this election. He should run on his positive agenda, because the problem is it's the same old Liberals. All they can do is talk about us because they don't have their own policies.
Well, can I just respond to that? The Bill has he has accused us of planning to increase the GST when he knows we've made it quite clear that we'll do nothing of the sort, and explained why. So he makes one allegation after another. But on this matter of border protection, this is a very serious issue. What I have said tonight is absolutely true. If Bill becomes Prime Minister, his government will be tested by the people smugglers. Now, he assures us that he will be as strong and as resolute as we have been, and that time will tell. But what we know is what happened the last time Labor was in government. The truth is, it gives me no joy to say this, but Kevin Rudd in 2007 said he too would turn back the boats. He said he too would be strong on border protection, and we know what happens.
Bill Shorten, briefly on that.
Oh, when Mr Turnbull says that they're not interested in a 15% GST, why on earth have so many Liberals backed it in? Why do they keep talking about it? I do not trust the Liberal Party, if they had control of the Senate and the reps, not to look at a 15% GST. And in terms of what he said about the Labor Party, there's a big difference between me and Mr Turnbull. I genuinely lead my party, whereas your party genuinely leads you.
Well, again, it's another it's another cheap shot from Bill tonight. The truth is, Labor is divided on this issue. Everybody knows that. The truth is, Kevin Rudd ran in 2007 and said he would be as strong as John Howard on border protection, and he wasn't. What Bill is asking us to do is to believe that the Labor Party has changed and that he will be resolute in a way that the previous Labor government was not.